It's a time for the package from China, so let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look at the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus today. I must say that I wanted to make this review for some time now, and I must say that it was quite a lot of work to set everything up. Nevertheless, when it comes to Retroid Pocket, they always surprises us with new kind of models. Curious what they will do upcoming years. So this thing does have a very interesting specification list and the things that we can do with it. And that's the reason I was quite excited to check it out for you. Inside the package we're going to get ourselves the USB cable, the toilet paper manual, then we have the screen protector and of course the system itself. Another thing I really like about the Retroid Pocket 3 and 3 Plus is basically that we're going to get ourselves a very nice navigation menu the first time boot up. I already skipped the internet. I was going to configure that later, but you can just set everything up and just like your typical, let's say, Android device. But there is another thing I really like. It gives you the option to install all kinds of, let's say, emulators or a front end, so that makes the process of setting everything up so much easier. And if you're going to boot it up, you're going to have the option for the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus launcher or just normal Android. I recommend checking the Android first, because you need to set everything up before you can even start with the Retroid Pocket, let's say, piece of software that comes with it, or the front end if you want to even use it. I made the decision to choose this translucent purple. I think it was called Atomic Purple. So the design itself hasn't been changed so far I know when it comes to the previous model. Though of course the internals has been upgraded, and also there were some minor differences with the display itself. When you're looking at the specification and the price, we do get a very good combination. The CPU and GPU are quite powerful, more powerful than the previous model. For example, the GPU is now a Mali G52 that runs on 840 MHz. RAM is 4GB LPDDR4 running on 866 MHz, 128GB of eMMC storage capacity. The cooling is passive, and I must say this thing can get hot, but not to the point it's going to be very problematic. Then we're having the screen that is a 4.7 inch touchscreen, 740 by 3034 resolution, kind of weird. Do have an HDMI 720p signal out, so this thing comes with a very nice specification list, even with Android 11, and a battery that is 4500 mAh. But when you're looking at the handle itself, I must say that I personally really like it. But there is a thing that makes it more less attractive to play for a long time than when it comes, for example, with my Odin. To begin with, I really love to have some support over here. For bigger hands, it's going to be more comfortable to play. And that's what I really have with these, let's say, landscape, very thin models. They feel comfortable, but not the best out there. So the D-pad, I really love the D-pad. It is more this clicky D-pad. You need to get used to it, especially when you love to play some fighting games like me. But this thing, when you get used to it, I really love it, and it's very responsive. The analog stick at the left and the right, having the switch look of course, in combination with the L3 and R3. At the right side, we're going to get more the switch look-alike buttons. I mean, especially when you're looking at the size. I'm more a big... it's kind of funny, it's I really love the big buttons. And these tiny ones with the switch, I'm not a big fan of them. They do play very nicely, but if you go to play certain games, I do have struggle playing. For example, if you want to play some Ridge Racer, I need to navigate through the two buttons for basically doing the drift. I do have some problems personally. So for me, the tiny button is not the best thing. Let's take a close look at the top part. So what we're going to get is a quite weird configuration. So let's start with the weird part. So we do have over here not the volume control, but the select and start. Yeah, it's a kind of weird situation. I'm so used to have them on the front. Even one at the left and one at the right. Now they chose to put it on the top. It's kind of weird, to be honest. Really need to get used to that. Over here we do have the on and off switch, the HDMI out. Then we're having the shoulder buttons. The configuration of the shoulder buttons, I personally really like it, what they did over here. Especially when you're looking at the side, you can see they have completely different, say, heights. So when you go to play with them, yeah, you can just have a very good, let's say you can just gameplay in overall when it comes to the shoulder buttons, where most of these handhelds back in the day had a lot of problems. They didn't configure it correctly. They did an amazing job. Even this one does have the long traveled button with, of course, the micro switch, but I just really love the way how it plays. The volume is at the left over here. I already mentioned, I was thinking at first it was at the top, but no, it is at the left. But I really love that they implemented a home button at the side, so that is very convenient if you want to, for example, configure this in emulators. At the bottom part, we're going to get ourselves actually two like very nice like sounding speakers. We have even having a headphone jack out, in Type-C connection for charging it and data transfer. And then over here we have an extra compartment for adding yourself an SD card. Okay, so when it comes to, let's say, the Retroid Pocket, basically we have two different ways if you have basically set everything up. So the first thing that you could do is, for example, like use the launcher, like configure it like this. So here, like I already set some stuff up, and you can have like a very cool, like easy menu if you just want to use this thing for emulation. Of course, you can just quit it, and when quit, you can go to the interface, Android 11, and here we can basically like set everything up, or better said, like this is the way you need to set it up before you're going to get into the menu. Again, you need to have like some knowledge when it comes to setting this thing up, because this is not like a device you can just plug and play and just have a lot of fun. But this thing does have like a lot of like positive things to it. We have a Play Store, so we can basically like add your games to here, download your emulators, especially when you're looking at Redream. You can just basically set it up and go into the premium mode, so having like higher resolutions. And of course the home button can be used if you want to go back to the main menu. I think it's very convenient, and sometimes I wish that they did it every single like handheld when you're having like an Android. Nevertheless, I already installed everything, so let's get into the gameplay and let's see how it actually runs, because that is surprisingly good. So when you're going to put the handheld on an angle, you can just see how good the display is. It looks absolutely beautiful. But when you're looking at just the handheld and the way how everything looks, that is something that really appeals to me when playing on this thing, that the display is absolutely amazing for the money you're paying for it. So when it comes to Sega Dreamcast, we do get like a lot of amazing, like say, performance, and that is something that I find really appealing to this. Like even on higher resolutions, you can play it on a budget handheld like this. What I personally also find very important when it comes to handhelds, that it comes with some pretty damn good audio. And the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus doesn't really disappoint with this, with these two tiny ones over here at the bottom. Okay, the reason I chose this particular like soundtrack, because it got like a lot of mid and high, and it works absolutely great with this. And also when it comes to, let's say, higher resolution, this is on full HD with some Marvel's Capcom 2 that runs like a charm. So another system that runs quite well on a lot of devices nowadays is PlayStation 1. Yeah, and that is something that is not really special, but I just wanted to show you. I didn't like map the analog stick. I completely messed that personally up. But it runs like a charm. So when it comes to Sega Saturn, there also we're going to get way better performance. With previous handhelds we also have like struggles, frame dips and all the kind of things. But with the new Retroid Pocket we can actually play some Sega Saturn. Even if it's not like in higher resolutions. I think it's quite surprising actually to play these games on here. Coming back to the D-pad, like I really hate this game to be honest, simply because the controls are so horrible. But somehow with this clickish D-pad it's so much easier to play actually. I'm even on number 1 position, what the hell is going on? Oh, and I messed it up. Okay, so next up, let's try a little bit of a GameCube game. Take consideration that more demanding games will not run perfectly on this, but it's just a very cool addition when it comes to play some Dragon Ball Z or just want to play some other cool Wii games that runs pretty damn good. I didn't have like the option to like upscale it to higher resolution. That is unfortunate in my opinion. I have no idea what I'm doing, you know. It has been so long I've played this. Another feature I really like that it also comes with the built-in like vibrator motor, and it works perfectly on this. And I just read in Paradise. I think the biggest surprise came with PlayStation Portable, that we even have like the option now to play some God of War on higher resolution, where we like struggled so freaking long when it comes to this. Now finally having like a device that not for a lot of money that can actually play some PlayStation Portable. And in combination with the display, it looks so great, absolutely amazing. But when you're going to look into like what is unable or very difficult to run, it's going to be absolutely PlayStation 2. In my opinion, we're not there yet. And the reason why is because this system is just not powerful enough. I did know that a lot of people were tweaking and doing stuff to get a lot of games actually working to a point that it is playable. But what I also noted with other like say videos I've watched is like actually like this thing doesn't get like a great performance and overall. Tekken doesn't run great. I think it's also demanding like what kind of game you're playing in combination, like what kind of like, configuration. In the end, PlayStation 2, maybe there's some games, your favorite games will run on this, but for me it's absolutely no go if it needs to go like this. But okay, so when you're looking at the high-end stuff, I basically like got all of those separate emulators from the Play Store, and you also can add them through, let's say, in Sideway. But beside that point, I just wanted to check out some 8-bit system stuff that run perfectly on here. But yeah, you're just going to use RetroArch for that, and it runs absolutely amazing. So when it comes to N64, they're also going to get great performance now, so we can actually enjoy some of my favorite classic games from back in the days. And I'm messing up with pressing the wrong button like always. But take consideration, like, depending on what kind of emulator, what kind of game, you should like do a lot of tinkering, especially if you want to get it like on high resolution. But what I've noticed, this looks so great. And it plays amazing. But there is also like this cool tool that comes in Retroid Pocket, is that basically you can check out and monitor everything that's happening on the background. That works basically with every single emulator I have tried. So here you can see like how many FPS is it running, how cool or hot it's going to be running, and here we have like the CPU usage and the memory usage. It's a very convenient tool. I really love it that they implemented it in this like handheld software. And one of the features I really love about the Retroid Pocket, you can just bring it with you very easily and just plug it into a television and just play your games on the big screen. And again, like this is an option we do see sometimes with those cheaper handhelds, but it is not working great or with like very, let's say, bad emulation. And with the Retroid Pocket 3 and of course this amazing performance you were getting with a lot of systems, I think it's such a cool thing. Another thing we also can do is like basically connect our Bluetooth controller and just use this thing actually like just in game system. So it comes with all kinds of cool extra features and not for the money you're paying for it. I must say like surprisingly good. And let's plug it out. It goes back to the system itself. Let's plug it back in. And there we go. Let's see how the audio is. So the audio is kind of messed up. Let's go back to the home button. Let's boot up the game. So that feature is not working perfectly. So that's something you need to take consideration. So throughout like this review I mentioned a lot of like things I really didn't like or just I did like. So first of all, I really love the design, the quality of this device. The display looks amazing. I really love the D-pad and I can enjoy this thing for many hours. Yeah, the only thing I personally don't really like is the way how flat it is. I would have like more of a form factor that makes it more comfortable to play for a longer time. Yeah, I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think of the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Is this thing still worth picking up? Because in this invasion of handheld, there is so much new coming out every single month. But nevertheless, thanks for watching, and it would be great to see you in the next video.